Good morning. We're in Middle Earth, and today we're doing something a little different. We are on Bullroarer. Since I was playing around with New World's PTR, I decided to look at another PTR and see what the pros and cons of the Minstrel changes are. Oh, you haven't heard. Well, with update 33.2, minstrels will no longer be able to choose Protector of Song trait tree. That is, the yellow trait tree. They'll still be able to use red or blue and then spend points in yellow to, I guess, round out whichever trait tree you've chosen. Needless to say, some people are very happy with the upcoming changes. Other people are not. Particularly people who generally specialize in the yellow trait tree. So, they say, why yellow minstrel? The yellow minstrel line has a strong identity, but while there are good reasons to specialize in the Protector of Song, those reasons aren't usually better than the reasons for specializing in blue or red. First off, let me stop you right there. Who are you to tell somebody why their reasons aren't better than someone else's reasons? Right off the bat, bad vibes. You're sitting there basically belittling the people who have their reasons for choosing the yellow trait tree. Granted, I'm pretty much a blue trait tree person, although I have spec'd her in red, but I'm not going to go around telling people who spec yellow that their reasons aren't as good as my reasons. Okay, to continue. Yet, it still has some very clear utility, and we regularly see minstrels swapping to a full yellow line spec to fire off all the buffs they can before swapping back to blue or red at fight starts. Since I've never done that, I can't speak to whether or not people do that. And while it doesn't have quite enough power or utility to justify using as a main spec, we see a lot of you considering the yellow line and keeping a yellow setup around. We just don't see many folks staying in yellow line for very long. Obviously there are exceptions, but at the moment, minstrels staying in yellow spec for group content tend to be niche circumstances. So, you're saying that the exceptions don't count. The people that actually do stay in the yellow trait tree don't count because they're exceptions. Again, belittling the people that actually choose the yellow trait tree. Way to go, SSG. Our goal is not to remove yellow line or yellow line's identity, but to fold yellow line back into being a core part of the minstrel, accessible regardless of whether you're in red, doing landscape quest, blue, main healing a raid, or any other activity. So, it says what's changing. A lot of things are changing. For a full list of changes, see the release notes or hop into Bullroarer and check it out for yourself, which is why we're here. Granted, I have not mained a minstrel in quite a long time. So I'm getting a slightly fresher perspective than if I had recently played one of my minstrels. Still. Okay. We will continue reading off of these notes as we go, but I saw this guy. His name is Berthaden, Hardened Traveler. And if you click on him, you can actually change the landscape difficulty. So 0 is normal, then you have hard, dangerous, deadly, and then deadly plus 1 through 6. So very interesting. Of course, we're going to keep it in normal for now because we are testing out this new minstrel stuff. But I thought it was interesting to point out that perhaps that will be coming to live finally instead of just being on the legendary servers. And actually, I think it's only on Treebeard. I'm not sure. I've already picked up quests. Of course, we always have our VIP rewards because this Medrielle, like Medrielle on Laurelin, is on my VIP account. And perhaps I should have tested this on one of my non-VIP accounts, but, well,
mind my words, traveler.
I didn't think about that before I logged into Bullroarer. So there are a lot of changes coming to the Minstrel. Seems like they're making
You may be of service to me.
changes to anthems and codas, and I've read some of the comments, and I can already tell some people are not happy with this at all. And by some people, I mean there's a lot of people that are not happy with this. Anthems are an iconic part of the Minstrel's toolkit, but they aren't always a very exciting part of the class. We want anthems to be more interesting to use, but we don't want them to simply be a chore to maintain. To that end, anthems are now share cooldown, have shortened duration, and can only be used in combat. We've also added a couple anthems and made sure they're distributed around the trait trees. That means it won't be possible for a single minstrel to maintain 100% uptime on all their anthems for the group. You'll have to be a bit choosier with your anthems, but you also won't be waiting for your anthem buff to expire, only to pause what you're doing and click through all of your anthems one by one to refresh the buff. Okay, right off the bat, the minstrel seems a little wimpier than she was. You know, we worked hard to get these minstrels stronger, and now they feel pretty limp noodle again. That's probably not a good way to start. Those, blah, blah, blah. Alright, so fundamentals, concussive shout, significantly increases all critical chance for all versions of piercing cry. That is one thing that I did notice that I don't like. So, while dissonance and resonance may have clear benefits, melody has never had a very strong identity. While making changes to the yellow line, we wanted to strengthen the identity of the melody stance a bit. While it can do some healing and some damage, it doesn't excel at either. So we made some changes to make melody better at applying debuffs, buffs, and unique effects. Debuffs applied to Echoes of Battle and Call of Rome are now stronger while in melody. Similarly, Piercing Cry only removes corruptions and stuns on critical hits when used in melody. Additionally, Call to Fate can be used in melody, though it will do less damage than it will in dissonance. Minstrels have 3 core skills, which change depending on stance: your strike, your piercing cry, and your coda. Strike skills have been rebalanced slightly against one another, so their healing and damage values change more depending on your stance. Likewise, Piercing Cry now has more utility in melody, does more damage in dissonance, and is weaker offensively in resonance. Codas, when traded, also now have bonuses effects related to their respective stances. So, most red line minstrels that I've known, when they're in the red trait tree, they run dissonance. Melody is usually reserved for the blue trait tree. And usually when you're in the red trait tree, you get the stun with piercing cry. But now they're punishing you by telling you you won't get the stun with piercing cry unless you trait melody, the melody stance. Bad call. Thoroughly bad call, because that piercing cry with the stun helps the minstrel stay alive. And I'm sorry, but I don't know about other red trait tree minstrels. I know if I'm running red, I am not going to be in melody stance. I am going to be in dissonance because it does the most damage. So again, you're punishing the red line minstrels who don't want to use melody by removing a core feature of piercing cry that helps them stay alive. This ain't it, Chief. Not it at all. And I've noticed a lot of other people have had similar sentiments in the forums.
I am at your service. Greetings, traveler. Will you stay a moment?
Medrielle. Stay a moment.
Alright, let's get these quests so we can continue testing out this minstrel. It's like these people either have never played the minstrel, or they hate the minstrel and they want to make it as useless as possible so people stop playing it. I hate to say it, but it sounds like the minstrels are going to lose all their hard games and making them a viable, playable solo class. And I will stop shouting now. I think I'll get off that soapbox. Unfortunately for us, we don't have to worry about doing deeds while we're here. Considering, I don't think the LOTRO points that you would make in Bullroarer count for anything. Ah, there's our elf satchel. Okay. That was easy.
How can I be of service? We learned me a rare. What do you need?
Greetings, traveler.
Alright, so back to Ellendom. Oh, wait a second. One more thing. I'm going to turn in this collar so it doesn't constantly pester me.
What do you need? Mind my words, traveler.
And of course, I could have leveled this character up to max level and tried out everything, but part of what I wanted to do was experience this in the way, not only in the way of a veteran who may not be happy with the changes at all, but in the way of a new player who will be seeing for the first time what the class would be like, and if the changes would make the class perhaps more fun to play or less fun to play. And speaking of that, something else that they're changing is the anthems and codas. Anthems are an iconic part of the Minstrel's toolkit, but they aren't always a very exciting part of the class. We want anthems to be more interesting to use, but we don't want them to simply be charged to maintain. To that end, anthems all now share cooldown, have shortened durations, and can be used only in combat. Actually, I think I read this part. Yeah, I think I've read this part. Okay. So, Song of Aid and Call to Greatness. These two are a pair of awesome skills, but their effects varied widely in usefulness and could be difficult or impossible to utilize meaningfully. They've been changed so that they now have more unified effects for all your allies. Song of Aid is now a strong defensive cooldown, granting a brief heal over time and damage reduction and reflex, so help you get back on your feet when things are starting to go sideways. Call to Greatness now resets a key or capstone cooldown for every trait tree for every class. That means regardless of your chosen class or role, you should have a skill which have its cooldown reset by Call to Greatness. This will allow Call to Greatness to be used both offensively and defensively and make its effects relevant for everyone. That said, not all classes are equal and some have more impactful long cooldown skills than others. So while some classes or specializations will still benefit from the Call to Greatness effect more than others, There should be better parity overall, and we're certainly willing to look at outliers going forward. So, I don't know much about doing a minstrel in group play. I will be honest, I didn't do a whole lot of group play with my minstrel. Mostly solo, and surprisingly, mostly using the blue trait tree and melody.
Sweet-eyed melon. Greetings, friend.
But I felt like using the red trait tree this time. And dissonance. And I'm sorry, I'm going to use dissonance. I'm not going to use melody. Minstrel, if you would take a moment, I have a request of you. Okay, so you want me to go bring your cask over somewhere. Very good. Now we'll empty our bags later. We don't have that much junk yet. Now, I do recall something about skills getting a change in their cost, too.
Sweet-eyed melon.
Some skills will cost 1 point, some will cost 2, and I guess some extremely
Will you hear my sorrows?
powerful skills will actually cost 3 points. I don't know how that's supposed to work out. Melody of Battle. Only available in Resonance. Okay, so let's see. There. Anthem of the Third Age. Requires 3 ballad buffs present on the minstrel. So I actually have to use the 3 ballads and then use that, or use Code of Melody. Which I actually tend to, you know what, I'm going to change that back. I tend to use this one over this one. I prefer this coda over this anthem. If I remember right, using one means that you reset your ballads and you can't really use the other one. Okay, nothing there. And I just jumped on top of Elrond's twins. Sorry, guys. Didn't mean to do that. I'm kind of glad there are no collision mechanics with NPCs. You can run right through them. Actually, you can run right through the players, too. Which means nobody can block your way to a quest, a door, anything. Oh, look at the family of deer. Aren't they cute? Yes, even in Bullroarer I can appreciate the scenery. That's a pretty beat up looking loot. wolves and boar here. Both of them in plentiful supply. Alright, turn that in.
Friend. Will you lend me your ear?
Pick some grapes.
You may be of service to me.
Kill some goblins and get the flasks. Find Pomperoche and kill him. I mean, so far, for me at least, the class plays pretty much the same way. But once again, I've never been a yellow vine minstrel. So I'm using one of the two trees I am used to using. I've noticed by the time this thing lights up, I've already killed everything anyway. So I need one more defiler, and I need to find Pomperoche. There's a defiler. So Pomperoche is usually over in here somewhere. Is that him? Yep, that's him right there. Alright. That's done.
Hail, friend, and well met. Greetings to you. Sweet-eyed Melon, will you stay a moment?
Okay, I'll be honest, so far from my particular play style, the changes aren't like overly, they don't overly affect my gameplay. However, I'm still not very happy with the loss of stun for piercing cry. Not happy about it at all. And I imagine most minstrels won't be. Okay, so I need one more. And now it lights up. All right. And let's head back to killing them. Having completed all these various tasks. And having gained a follower. Hello, Wolfie. You can chase me if you want, but I'm not stopping for you. Now that jump was not that big. Ah. Alright, turn this one in.
Sweet-eyed Melon.
And of course he has one more quest for us.
Service to me.
Now, how's my bags looking? Still good.
A shadow is on my spirit.
Fate, my fate.
Will you lend me your ear?
Now what? Oh, okay. Just the usual stuff that pops up. And pick up his quest, because it's heading over there. Turn his quest in and pick up the next one, which heads over to
Greetings, Lulu.
Duland.
Maid of honor, might you spare a moment to return?
Now I know there's also supposed to be a new zone coming, or not, I guess it is a new zone, because it's for the Pack B Before the Shadow, which takes place in the time that Boromir goes from Gondor to Rivendell for the meeting. I was kind of hoping to take a look at that, but I haven't seen anything about that. I think right now the Bullroarer seems to be focusing on the changes to the Minstrel. And I do have to admit, I've had to use my one lone healing skill on this red Minstrel a lot more than I usually ever have to. So, like I said, she's feeling a little bit like a spaghetti noodle. And again, I have to wonder if the people making these changes have either never played a minstrel or hate them. Particularly hate damaged minstrels. Okay.
What do you mean? Will you lend me your ear?
Damp herbs. We can do that. Huh. I didn't realize that the... That's funny. It's got a green name, but it's a level 1. Oh, no. I guess... Yeah. Once I get to be level 10, that should stop being a thing. Yeah, I think you can already see why I'm probably mad about the Piercing Cry losing the stun ability if you're not using melody or harmony. Because I use it a lot. I lead, when I'm playing a minstrel, I lead with Piercing Cry. And if I happen to know I'm going to pull a couple of mobs, leading with the Piercing Cry and stunning one of them gives me time to dispatch another one or one or two other ones before that first one unstuns and decides to attack me. And it literally can mean the difference between surviving a fight and not. But I'm not willing to give up dissonance with the extra damage to slot into melody for a benefit I should have in dissonance.
Make of iron. We've learned to be aware.
Alright, so turn that in.
Greetings to you.
Turn that
My
in.
heart cannot sing today. Will you hear my sorrows? Will you hear my sorrows?
How can I help but hear your sorrows?
How can I be of service? Might you spare a moment of your time?
See, Cairn, goblins, sword. We're missing one. We're missing the quest for the boss. There.
Mind my words, traveler.
Durglup. That's his name. What a name. Durglup. I actually do feel bad for those people who use yellow trait tree. They're going to have their experience vastly reduced in the game as a result. And I mean, if SSG's goal is to control server lag by causing people to leave the game, I guess you'll probably succeed. I think I went the right way. This is a pretty place though. With the exception of, you know, the wildlife. done. Okay, the big white tree of Gondor on leveling up is really not necessary. And, oh, by the way, is it a really good idea to throw people into epic battles at level 10? Seriously, is it really? Okay, deed completed. New skirmish available. That's not a skirmish, that's an epic battle. That reminds me of Brightlife games. He basically said, what gamer is going to see, oh look, you can join an epic battle and not join it? And I'm like, yeah, me. But you know what? If you want some really good LOTRO content, check him out because he's actually really good. I would rate him up there with Louis 7 for really good content creation. I will leave a link to his channel in the description box. So, yep, we got another 2 goblins here. Alright. Now we have Darglup. And, okay, we can go turn some stuff in now. I'm going to piss off some goblins on the way out. Not that they can catch my horse, unless they manage to kill it first. They did manage to hit me a time or two.
What can I do for you? How can I be of service? Mind my words, traveler.
Alright, so... having gotten a little more of the feel of the Minstrel, still again, based on my own personal playstyle and the fact that I don't do any grouping, it's not too much different. She does feel weaker. It definitely feels less
A shadow is on my spirit.
sturdy.
Grey is the shadow upon my heart. Will you hear my sorrows?
And I definitely don't like that. But for the most part, it still feels kind of the same. And it looks like I'm going to put her on a stable ride to Gondolin. And then we can take a look at the trade tree while she's traveling.
Sweet-eyed
I
Madeline.
want his outfit. I bet it looked good on her. Gondaman. Did I say Gondolin? Gondaman. Oh, silly me. Alright, so do we have any traits we can equip yet? Charity. Okay. No race traits yet. We have 1 point. Put it in the fundamentals, critical strikes. So Tale of Tales. So yeah, there are some skills in your tree that actually take 3 points, which I think is ridiculous. And of course, it always has been the way that if you want to put trait points into an alternate skill tree, you spend more points. So if I wanted to throw into poignant phrases and increase my self-heals, I would need 2 points. Memory of battles. Inspire fellows. Improve strikes. Memory of battles. Where is Echo of battles? Where is it? Is it? You know, it's been a while. Well, I'm not going to worry about putting any points in anything right now. So, yeah. Not happy with the changes to Piercing Cry. Not at all.
Hail, friend,
And like I said, I think they must really, really hate minstrels if they're going to do that.
You may be of service to me. Negervine, might you spare a moment of your time?
I feel bad for all the people who actually do run a yellow minstrel. I really don't think it's fair that they're stripping people of choice. And yes, despite everything they say, that is essentially what they're doing. They're stripping people of choice. Instead of leaving them with 3 trait trees and actually doing something to improve the yellow trait tree, they're just taking it away from them.
Greetings, traveler. Will you stay a moment?
And I don't know what else to say about that. And I think the Brawler actually only has 2 trait trees, and yellow is like a supplemental. And I guess we should have suspected something was going to happen when they did that. I guess because we were all enamored with the Brawler, they figured, oh look, everybody likes the Brawler, we should do this with all the classes. And I'm like, no, that's not what we meant. Just because somebody likes the Brawler, and the Brawler happens to only have 2 trait trees and a supplemental, does not mean every class has to have the same thing. But I know no matter what any of us say, SSG is going to stick their fingers in their ears, flip us the bird, and do whatever they want anyway. So let the chips fall where they may, and we'll see if they actually retain players or bleed even more as a result of these changes. Only time will tell. Obviously, I've played for 13 years. I'm probably not going to just drop everything and stop playing. But I will not defend the company when I think they're making a bad decision either. And I really do honestly think this is not the way to go. But we will continue looking at the Minstrel and all the changes next time. Until then, bye for now.